Of Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Florida.
This would be an unlikely source.
Murphy drives it right field, hits it deep. Gonzalez back, and it's gone! Ball game!
An unlikely source!
And the Marlins walk off with an incredible win! Donnie Murphy! My goodness! Line drive, base hit! Donnie bleeping Murphy has done it again!
Another walk-off!
Ball game!
You gotta be kidding me! Why not Donnie Murphy?
What a week! Unbelievable! Murphy, line drive. Donnie bleeping Murphy is back. Walk off. Ball game. Marlins win it. Well, the walk-off win is a hard act to follow, but tonight in Miami, the Marlins will try to do just that. It's Game 2 of the Nationals and the Marlins from Sun Life Stadium. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton. Quite an ending last night for the Marlins. Quite an ending from another unlikely source. It's become a nice habit.
I'll tell you what I like about Donnie Murphy. It was just a couple of games ago. He got drilled on the same hand that he had surgery on. He is actually ready to play the next game. He pinch hit in that game, and last night certainly gave up just one hit and no runs and allowed the Donnie Murphy walk-off base hit. An assortment of stuff from Ryan Webb, hard sinkers and sliders, Mike Dunn, the lefty, Clay Hensley, a little bit of everything. Leo Nunez had a nice 1-2-3 inning, and Edward Mujica, who was the eventual winner, finished things off and threw strikes. You'll love to see that, and the bullpen was outstanding last night.
If the Marlins are going to make it 2 in a row, they need some of that Chris Volstad magic against the Nationals. For some reason, he's been dynamite against the Nationals, but Levon Hernandez stands in his way.
Levon Hernandez, guy's never been on the disabled list. He gives you a little bit of everything from the mound, and he has a pretty good record in 31 career starts against the Marlins. Chris Volstad, 30 starts last year, but he was 8-1 the second half of the season, 5-1 lifetime against Washington.
So there you have it. Levon Hernandez, Chris Volstad, Nationals, and Fish. Logan Morrison has already homered twice. That's significant. Frank Fort will explain when we return. Baseball night in Miami, folks. Ready to go. Chris Volstad has warmed up, got the towel on the arm, moments away from taking aim at the Nationals. Let's start things with Frank Fort and Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Rich. Let's talk a little offense early in the season. Marlins didn't hit a lot of home runs in spring training, Jeff, but they have guys with some track records. Hanley can hit some home runs. You know, Gabby Sanchez had 19 as a rookie. We saw Mike Stanton's power. How about a guy like Logan Morrison? Last year came up getting used to Major League pitching. His average is good, hit a lot of doubles, but only 2 home runs. Well, he's doubled that so far this season.
Yeah, you know, he's got the kind of swing that's a line drive type swing that is going to get him a lot of doubles in a big ballpark like this. So far this year, you've seen line drives, but 2 of them have gone out of the ballpark, and they've gone out of the ballpark in a hurry. Opening night, you saw this perfect swing right here. That's not an easy thing to do. Right field is a big yard here. And then last night, he goes opposite field, another line drive the opposite way. Another good swing by Logan Morrison. The line drive, again, didn't get a whole lot of elevation on this, but it got out in the very right spot.
I'll tell you what, that's tough for a lefty to do in this ballpark. Now, he put on 10 pounds of muscle in the offseason. He's up a little bit over 230, so he's strong enough to hit him out of just about any ballpark. Now, let's go back to the overseas trip, the visit to the troops. Became kind of a running joke for you guys who were on that visit because you talked to a lot of military kids, you visited some schools, did some clinics, and one of them was in Kaiserslautern, Germany, and the topic came up again. Invariably, you guys got the question, how many home runs have you hit in the big leagues? And Andre Dawson would say 438. You, Jeff Conine, would say 214. John Buck said 90. And what about Lomo? When it got to Lomo, and this is where it became a joke, he would sheepishly say, well, I've got how many? I've got 2. Well, he can go back and say I got more, double that.
If we go back right now, he could say 4, but it was funny how it just went down the line, and the kids, you know, they're all, ooh, they're oohing and on, you know, especially with Andre, ooh, and then he just hangs his head, he goes 2, and a laughter erupted throughout the kids, and we're, you know, like 10, 12, 14 years old.
Yeah, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's going to hit more than 2 this season.
I guarantee it.
All right, we'll guarantee it. We guarantee you this. We've got baseball on the way. Chris Volstad, Levon Hernandez, your pitching matchup. Rich Waltz and Tommy Hutton with the call coming up next.
Marlins and Nationals. Fish with a win last night in extra innings. Now 2-2. The Nationals open play at 1-3. Please welcome Chris Volstad to the telecast. Volstad and Ian Desmond match up with Jason Worth and Ryan Zimmerman scheduled to appear. And Ian Desmond has his first hit of the season. And he's going to stretch it for 2. The throw from Coghlan and a hustling double by Desmond. The Nationals testing Coghlan's arm in center field, and Desmond has a double.
Didn't take the 25-year-old from Sarasota High School very long. Smashes this ball and just kind of finds the gap. Even though Coghlan cuts it off, Desmond with good speed, never hesitated, and we're going to see a lot of runners challenge that arm of Chris Coghlan in center field.
The Nationals, who scored first in last night's ball game, they got a run in the first. Now have Jason Worth, Ryan Zimmerman, and Adam LaRoche. Against Volstad, Chris, we told you, his 5-1 career against the Nationals. But the funny thing is, Washington scores runs against him. Lots of them. His ERA is almost 6, and yet he's 5-1 against them.
Well, he's got a lot of support. That's what that tells you. And I think in watching Desmond, we're seeing a little bit of what we've talked about with this Nationals club. A little more athletic, more speed, more daring on the bases.
1-0 pitch to Worth. Breaking ball looked pretty good, but Tim Cheetah didn't think so. And it's 2-0. This is his debut in 2011 for Chris Volstad.
Good job last year. Career highs in wins, starts, complete games, and innings pitched.
That pitch misses as well.
Where in the world was that?
I think Volstad,
don't need Fox tracks for that.
I think Volstad
do not need. 2 was a strike, and so was 3 was a better strike. Shake yourself back there, Tim. You're better than that.
3-0 pitch.
Same place. Exact same pitch as the 2-0 pitch.
That one actually looked lower than the 2-0 pitch. But
same pitch. Look at that.
It was. It was lower.
Tough to get in a rhythm if you're a pitcher and the umpire starts you off like that.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. Worth bangs it into center field. Coughlin went back, now comes in. Desmond is tagging, and he bluffs. And Coughlin with a good, strong throw, Tommy. That's a good sign.
I'll tell you what, we didn't see Chris Coughlin air out a throw like that in spring training.
Here comes the Nationals lineup. You've seen Desmond. You've met Worth. Now, here's Ryan Zimmerman with the cool music behind him. Adam LaRoche will hit cleanup. Michael Morse in left field. Rick Ankiel as the center fielder. Danny Espinoza, second base. Special guest appearance by Ivan Rodriguez and Levon Hernandez will do the pitching. Doesn't that sound like a cop show from the 70s,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Special guest appearance by Pudge Rodriguez. Ryan Zimmerman absolutely clobbers Chris Volstad. There's no way around it. Volstad has faced Zimmerman 21 times, and Zimmerman has 13 hits. And that's about a 619 clip. And a couple of home runs mixed in there. A strike. That batter's box, Tommy, as Zimmerman is digging in, was a point of some contention. Zimmerman slipped in that batter's box last night.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting scene about 10 or 15 minutes before the game. A couple of the umpires were out. Both managers were at the home plate area. Mike Morse was at the home plate area.
This is last night.
Watch Zimmerman. See that back foot? And he slips as he tries to get out. And that's exactly, Morse is standing there saying, look at when you turn that back foot and plant, it's not real. It's still a little hard. So what the grounds crew did afterwards, they put a little more water at the home plate area. It's another pretty good pitch.
May have put down a little more of that clay too, which hardens it up.
But as I look at the shoes of Zimmerman, I'm not sure if he's wearing the metal spikes. He might be.
Some are hybrid with some metal and plastic on the outside. 2-1 coming. Desmond's in scoring position. Hard shot. Hanley's got him hung up. Running at him. And he'll chase him back towards second. Now Desmond in a rundown. And he's out of the baseline and he's out. Murphy tags him out. Good heads-up play by Hanley and a base-running mistake by a young shortstop.
Sometimes you get a little too overly aggressive, and Hanley picked it up. Hanley did the proper thing, too. After he sees Desmond, he doesn't throw the ball. He runs right at him. That's a good lesson for youngsters. Run at the runner. He might have unloaded a little too soon to Infante, but either way, the fielder's choice goes 6-4-5.
And it's an 0 for Zimmerman against Volstad, which has to be a moral victory for Chris. Here is LaRoche now. Adam 1 for 4 last night. He's just 3 for 16 on the season. A new national. Guy that the Marlins saw an awful lot of in a Braves uniform. A 2-year, $16 million contract, coming off a 25-homer, 100 RBI season in Arizona last year.
At the time, and I'm not sure who signed first, but in the offseason, as it kind of wound down, Derek Lee and Adam LaRoche were two of the first basemen that were being sought after by a couple of clubs. Derek Lee eventually signed with Baltimore, and LaRoche with Washington.
Just underway and scoreless. 2-0 the count to the Nationals' first baseman. Zimmerman at first. Volstad to the plate. Chris misses outside. Tommy, you noted that Volstad had a solid season last year. If you had asked him that in July, he would have said, not really. Because the Marlins sent him down last year. Volstad went down to New Orleans because he was not pitching well here in the National League. And so he went down to New Orleans, made 3 starts. When he came back up, he went 8-1. Now his ERA was no great shakes. It was 4.32. But 8-1 is 8-1, and he finished at 12-9.
You know what? If you're 8-1, I'm not really that concerned about the ERA. You're keeping your club in games. Yeah, you're getting a little support, but you still have to win games. Now here's Mike Morris, who was out there earlier trying to show the umpires that the footing wasn't just right in the batter's box.
Morris was 1 for 4 last night with 3 strikeouts. Good pitch, got in on him. Murphy gathers it in, steps on the bag, and Volstad gets out of the first.
En español, oprimiendo el botón del SAP.
Here comes the Marlins lineup. Chris Coughlin in center field. Omar Infante is at second base. Hanley Ramirez is at shortstop. Cabby Sanchez at first. Logan Morrison as the left fielder. John Buck will do the catching. Donnie Murphy at third. Emilio Bonifacio in right. And Chris Volstad is on the mound. Here's Coughlin now. Levon Hernandez bounces one up there. What a battery you've got going on here. You got Levon.
Talk about experience.
Who's 36, making his 447th career start. And you got Pudge, who's caught more games than anybody in the game.
And Levon with a full season worth of starts against the Marlins. 31 career starts. against the Fish, a 13-10 record.
Coghlan bangs one up the middle into center field, a base hit.
And that's a good start for Chris Coghlan and the Marlins.
He hit the ball hard 4 times last night and had just 1 hit to show for it. Nationals defensively.
Here they are with Michael Morrison left, Ankiel, and Worth. That's a pretty good outfield. Zimmerman, a Gold Glover at third. Desmond back in there. Danny Espinosa, double play combination. Solid hands at first, and Adam LaRoche, and a multiple-time Gold Glove winner behind the plate. Pudge Rodriguez, 13 Gold Gloves.
That's right. Last night, Wilson Ramos got the start for the Nationals. Here is Infante.
You know, when I got to thinking last night, we were talking, Rich, about the local flavor that the Nationals bring. We never mentioned Pudge. Pudge makes his home in South Florida and certainly remembered for his 03 season here.
Right back to Levon, who gets an out there and an out there. And a 1-6-3 double play.
Now this is vintage Levon Hernandez. Perfect strike to second base after fielding that ball to start the 1-6-3 double play. He can do it all. How about this? 30 straight starts, or 30 starts or more for 13 consecutive years. He plays with you as a hitter, and he's an excellent hitter and a fielder. And what I mean by playing with you, he'll give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He'll keep you off balance. But so far, I like the approach of Coghlan and of Infante, even though Infante's ground ball went right back to Levon.
Here's Hanley Ramirez. And Hanley takes a strike. Hanley was 0 for 4 last night, just 3 for 17 on the season. Hernandez, and you talked to some pitching coaches about it, is the master of the strategic walk. Last year he walked 84 men in his 33 starts. And having seen him so many times against the Marlins, a lot of the walks are, I'm not going to give you anything to hit because I know I can get the guy on deck out.
Yeah,
and he does.
And if you want to swing at it, go ahead.
We saw one of his classic starts up at RFK. I believe it was 2005. I want to say he went 151 pitches.
Yeah, he did.
That night. Look at that career walk to strikeout ratio.
He has good enough control where he really could pitch a game, not walk anybody.
Right. And he's gone 3-1 on Hanley Ramirez. Marlins without Mike Stanton in the lineup. The latest Mike Stanton update. There should be a website for that where you can click on it, give you an update. Took batting practice again on the field. It went well. On schedule to be back in the lineup on probably Saturday. Levon Hernandez is looking into Tim Cheetah saying, hey, 446 career starts.
Jim Riggleman not all that pleased either. Well, at least he's got both sides upset now.
It's true. We saw the Fox track on Volstad. And here's Gabby now, and the heavy lifting for the Marlins offensively has been done by the middle and the back end of the order. Gabby, Logan Morrison, John Buck, Donnie Murphy last night. Hanley, normally you would say a threat to run, but you got a guy with quick feet on the mound, and you got Pudge behind the plate. And Pudge, in his career, has thrown out 31% of all base runners. Excuse me, 42%. Last year, 31%. So he dipped a little last year to 31, but in his career, an incredible 42.
Which we talked about last year. 31 is still probably above average.
And Levon is not happy right now with Tim Cheetah.
See, this is where I really get upset. You have two pitchers out there who are going to throw strikes. They've proven that early on, and all of a sudden the home plate umpire squeezing the strike zone instead of letting these guys work, use their game, make the hitters adjust. And then you wonder why games last 3 hours.
You don't always get a great pitch to hit 2-0 against Levon.
Now we don't necessarily want Levon to have that strike zone Eric Gregg gave him. in the championship series in 1997.
That, of course,
somewhere in between.
A historic night for Levon, which Braves fans still to this day will rue that day that Eric Gregg had the wide zone. But the other pitcher in that game was the master of stretching the strike zone, Greg Maddux. Here's a 3-0 pitch. There's a strike. Threw him a 2-0 floppy curveball, and then finally had to throw him a fastball 3-0.
He's a tough guy as a hitter to guess, because you're really not sure what you're going to get at any particular time.
Hanley's at first, and he's running, and it's outside. That's ball 4. Hanley's.
See, I think that's a pretty good pitch. It was called ball 4. He may have been blocked out a little bit because Hanley was on the move. Pudge had to come up. Sometimes that blocks an umpire's view of the zone.
But Pudge was not going to take any chances. He thought it was a strike.
Pitch number 5, just off the plate. But see, Pudge is trying to keep him away from Cheetah. Look at that. You can stay back there. I'll talk to my pitcher. But right now, he's established that he has a small strike zone.
Yeah, and that's not good news for. These are two guys that can't throw the ball by anybody. I mean, Levon more so than Volstad. Volstad has a little more velocity, but if they're not getting that low strike, then both these guys are very vulnerable. Here's Morrison now. Hernandez steps off.
And I guarantee the walk to Gabby wasn't a pitch around walk.
No.
He wanted to pitch to Gabby as opposed to pitching to Lomo here.
Morrison takes a strike. Edwin Rodriguez.
Now Logan Morrison is questioning Cheetah. He's not off to a good start. The life of an umpire.
Breaking ball check swing did not go. After the previous pitch. Just asking, is that the bottom of the strike zone?
Yeah, he might have been trying to get a little idea.
Rather than being upset, I think he was saying, is that the bottom?
And he did it in a professional way. That's the way you want to see a hitter do
that. That's not going to make Levon very happy. That's a pitch he's used to getting. Jim Riggleman paces in the Nationals dugout.
Now, I think that was outside, but do I think he gets that pitch a lot? Yeah, but not that time.
This is inside. Did you see the sequence of signs there by Pudge? You know, most guys, it's 1, 2, or 3. Pudge put down 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he had the OK sign. It's like there's 5 or 6 different pitches that he's going through.
Of course, this is the area that the Marlins have struggled in. Last night, just 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position, and those 2 hits came in the 10th inning.
Three-1. Walked him. So the bags are loaded. Remember, Coughlin opened the inning with a single. Vaughn has walked 3, and here is Buck.
Don't know if I ever remember seeing Levon Hernandez walk 3 men in an inning.
John Buck, you see, is 0 for 5 last night. He's 4 for 18. He's not walked this year. He's not a guy that is a high walk hitter going back through his career. And he's hacking at the first pitch. And it's 0-1. Not sure who called time. Buck steps back in.
Buck has seen a little bit of Levon Hernandez. 3 ABs, 0 for 3.
Hernandez figured if he went after the first one, he might as well lob another one out there.
Yeah, you're right about John Buck last year in his 20 homer season with the Blue Jays. Struck out 111 times, over 400 at bats, just 16 walks.
And he goes after a breaking ball that looked like ball 2. Bags are filled. Hanley walked. Gabby walked. Logan walked. Again, as we pointed out, Levon Hernandez is the type of guy who can survive a high walk game. Well, I think he would like a little bigger strike zone in this one. 1-2 coming. That one was outside.
And they are.
But that's a good illustration. Remember, Buck has swung at 2 of those pitches.
Yeah, it's a 2-2 count, but you wouldn't know that looking at Fox tracks.
Off-speed pitch, center field. Ankiel is there. And a long inning comes to an end without a run. We're still scoreless. A hit apiece. And Rick Ankiel stands in. Denny Espinosa, Ivan Rodriguez. Volstad fires a fastball outside to Ankiel. And the Port St. Lucie product was 0 for 3 last night. Just 1 for 12 on the season. He's trying to be the answer in center field after the trade of Nyjer Morgan to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Volstad gets a strike, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, I always marvel. You have to think of Rick Ankiel, and you look back to that 2000 season when he had a tremendous rookie season as a pitcher with the St. Louis Cardinals. He was 11-7, 30 starts, had an ERA a little over 3. And then all the postseason problems.
And what he's done by giving up a pitching career, going back to the minors and getting back as a position player is so rare in this game. Volstad misses outside, and Ankiel is aboard. All right, strike zone was an issue in the first inning for both pitchers, Tommy.
Yeah, and both pitchers are guys who have to live downstairs. There was a strike that was called a ball. This was called a ball. It was in the zone. That was a strike. It was called a ball. So both pitchers, if they have to come up in the zone, and the other question you have to ask yourself, all right, is Tim Cheetah going to have a high strike zone? If he does, these two pitchers aren't guys who want to live up in that area. They'll get hit.
Here's Danny Espinosa now. Had the night off last night, but Espinosa looks to be the Nationals' everyday second baseman and might be for some time. He's a tremendous talent, a switch hitter out of Southern California, and another in a long line of great shortstops out of Long Beach State.
I think he followed Tulowitzki.
Yep, who followed Longoria, who followed Rookie of the Year Bobby Crosby. And Espinosa has a very strong arm. If they needed him to go over to shortstop, he could probably make that move too, but they've got Desmond there right now. Espinosa 4 for 10 early in this season. Volstad trying to settle down. And there is a strike. It's 1-1.
Well, there have been 12 hitters, both sides, step to the plate. 5 of them have reached by walks.
And we've seen 47 pitches already. And there's nobody out in the top of the second of a scoreless game. It's one thing that Volstad has really tried to work on, Tommy. Ankiel can run a little bit, but runners ran wild against Volstad last year, and they have throughout his career.
Well, Ankiel has stolen base last night, and it'll be interesting to see how teams approach Chris Volstad.
He has a little bit of a shorter approach to the plate. But the problem is sometimes you make a big adjustment like that from the stretch, and it can mess with your mechanics in terms of throwing strikes. 29 of 33. That's what opponents were in stealing bases last year against Volstad. That's down low.
That's close, too. That's another borderline pitch. But we have established, and so is Tim Cheetah, that he's not calling that pitch, just off the plate. A lot of umpires will call that pitch and then not the high strike.
Runners on the move. Espinosa lifts it foul and out of play, and the count's full now at 3-2. We'll see if, since he was running at 3-1, if he's going at 3-2 with nobody out here in the second.
You got to figure he will be. He did have Rick Ankiel some hamstring issues last year. He's on the disabled list quite a bit with Kansas City.
There he goes. And we'll do it again. If you're just settling in with us tonight, thanks for stopping by. Our congratulations if you found us, because over the next few weeks, the Marlins games with so many properties for Fox Sports and Sun Sports. You've got hockey teams and basketball teams, playoffs coming up, a couple baseball teams. The Marlins will be on, but every now and then will be moved over to a channel right next to the one that you're used to watching. Volstad steps off the mound. So as always, check your local listings. Hit the menu on your television, and We'll see where the Marlins pop up. Just slide on over and dial it in.
Check your listings, and hopefully you'll find us. We'll be there for you.
Runner moves again, and this time Espinosa rolls it into right field for a base hit. Bonifacio picks it up, and the Nationals are in business here in the second, with a runner at first and at third. Is your group looking for an affordable outing? Save money, provide them with an unforgettable experience at a Marlins game. Call the group sales department at 305-626-SAVE, or just go to marlins.com/groups. Marlins baseball, catch our moves. Here's Pudge, and he's looking for his first hit of the season. As Tommy pointed out last night, 183 hits shy of 3,000. Not that he needs any more help to get into the Hall of Fame, but that is a magical number. 3,000 hits, and no catcher has ever been able to get there. Pudge is the active leader in just about every catching category.
Well, the other thing interesting about the Nationals battery tonight, we talked about the experience. You've got Pudge, who was so evident in 2003, the Marlins World Championship year, and Levon Hernandez in 1997.
Espinosa is running, and Pudge fouls it back. That clipped Buck's bare hand. 0-2.
Probably not a hit and run on an 0-1 pitch, but Espinosa looked like he got a pretty good jump.
See if he's running here. 0-2, not going. And Volstad misses inside. Pudge last year hit 266, and there was talk that, you know, maybe last year if he had two really good years, he'd get close. Now he's looking at least 2 seasons to pick up 183 hits, because I don't know that he's going to be playing every day this year.
Well, the young catcher Wilson Ramos had a nice night last night. He's gotten off to a good start. He's actually played a little bit more than Pudge.
Ramos is 5 for 10.
Pudge this year 39 years old.
Had him leaning, but didn't get him. Boy, that was close.
That's the one area you were talking about, Rich, where Chris Volstad has worked on. All right, if I'm still going to be a little slow to the plate, I'll work on that quick move to the bag. Boy, very close. You can't change the hand of Gabby Sanchez, but a left-handed first baseman with the glove on the right side probably is able to get the tag down.
Tell you what, Gabby is a lot better at that this year than he was last year. That's one of the adjustments, one of the first things that Perry Hill worked with Gabby on in spring training. And that's the placement of his feet when he was holding runners on.
And also the placement of his feet positioned his body in the proper area, too.
You see how clean that catch and tag was. On Marlins Live tomorrow night, we got a Perry Hill feature. 2-2 coming. Pudge pulls a ground ball. Murphy's got the runner at home. There's the tag. Got in there under the tag. Murphy's throw brought Buck up the line, and a nice head first slide by Ankiel.
Not the right choice for Donnie Murphy. It's early in the game. It's only the second inning. You've got a double play. Pudge doesn't run that well anymore. High one hopper. You've got double play. Runner was not going. You go the second base, you get one. You go to first, you get the double play. You let them have the run. Now, a more difficult try. You have to make a perfect throw. Buck tries to come around the throw a little bit on the inside. And now all of a sudden, still nobody out, and the Nationals have a couple of men on base. I think if Donnie rethought that, he would have gone the other way and tried for the double play.
Levon at the plate. And so the Nationals are on the board, and there's nobody out. Pudge is going to get an RBI on a fielder's choice. But he's at first. Espinosa's at second. Infield looking for this Levon bunt. And he drops down a gorgeous one. Murphy bare hands. And Infante digs it out. So Levon executes. And here comes Ian Desmond. Last night on email and Twitter Tuesday, lunch with Lomo, we got a lot of suggestions on where to take Lomo to lunch this road trip. So here are the 4 finalists. The Langford Grocery and Market in Houston, Village Whiskey in Philadelphia, the Varsity in Atlanta, or any of the Philly cheesesteak places in Philly. Pat's, Geno's, Jerry's, Tony Luke's. Desmond doubled his first time up. He drops down a bunt. Murphy to first, safe, run scores. And a heads-up play by Ian Desmond. Gorgeous bunt.
Well, we talked earlier about Levon Hernandez and his ability to drop down sacrifice bunts. He was perfect. Desmond spots Murphy playing where he should be. You don't expect Desmond to do that. That's just a heads-up play. You still have to execute, though, and get the bunt down on the ground toward third. He has enough speed to beat it out, and I think we're really seeing what Jim Riggleman told you and I, this new look Nationals club. They're a lot more athletic and do a lot of things just like that.
Now Jason Worth, who lined to center back in the first. That bunt by Desmond is also a test of Volstad getting off the mound in fielding, because that ball wasn't that far up the line. That was a ball that some pitchers can get to. I think he surprised Volstad as well as Murphy.
And it goes back, and unfortunately it was just a poor decision by Donnie Murphy. If he takes that double play, then there's no bump by Desmond. He's trying to swing away, and who knows, Chris Volstad could be out of the inning right now.
Another close one. So Chris is showing off an improved move to first. Breaking ball that misses outside to Worth, and it's 2-0. Chris Volstad already has thrown 39 pitches. Of course, Levon Hernandez has thrown 24, but the Nationals have 2 runs here in the second.
I think early on, getting squeezed a little bit in that first inning, Chris has really never gotten any rhythm, any feel out there on the mound. And you can really tell he's struggling.
And he misses to Worth. So the Nationals have them loaded. They've scored twice. And they've hit 1 ball out of the infield. That was the roller into right by Espinosa.
It's down. Keep in mind Worth's a big guy. So right now, Chris still has time. The Marlins still have time. It's only 2-0. A lot of baseball to be played, but he has to try to regroup and give Edwin and the club a few more innings and keep his team in the game.
Tommy, we have a lot of time.
Yeah, we do.
On our hands tonight, it looks like. Weekdays on FSN, the Dan Patrick Show, exclusive guests including high-profile athletes, celebrities, breaking sports news, unparalleled insider access, pop culture commentary, and of course, you gotta love a show that has McLovin on it. The Dan Patrick Show, weekdays 9 a.m. on FSN. Strike to Zimmerman, and remember, Zimmerman's the guy that clobbers Volstad. 13 of 22, and that includes a fielder's choice offer back in the first. Chris comes back, gets a nice strike there. It's 0-2.
Because he hasn't had many hitters that he's gotten ahead to. He hasn't really been able to establish much. He hasn't utilized the breaking ball and the changeup very often tonight.
Oh, 2. Three games in the National League complete. Colorado beat the Dodgers 7-5. Troy Tulowitzki hit his second homer of the season. Arizona beat the Cubs at Wrigley. Ryan Dempster's now 0-2. And Pittsburgh beat St. Louis 3-1. Zimmerman into right center field. It should be deep enough to score the run. Bonifacio makes the catch. Both runners moving up. The throw's coming at third, and he is safe. Murphy's tag just as the runner arrived. Desmond got there right as the ball got there. And of course, he had the race to the plate. Had he been out before Pudge stepped on the plate, that run would not have counted. That's a strong throw by Bonifacio.
Great positioning, got a little momentum going toward third, and made a strong throw. Little bit offline, but very close. And the Nationals get their third run. Good effort, though, by Bonifacio.
Zimmerman a sacrifice fly. Now LaRoche, runners at the corners. Texas is now 6-0 as they knocked around King Felix today, 7-3. Chris got a corner there, and it's 0-1. Kansas City was feeling pretty good about the day until the top of the ninth when they gave up 4. They tied it with 1 in the bottom of the ninth, but the White Sox won 10-7 in 12. Royals are now 4-2. The Rays lose again. The Angels beat the Rays 5-1.
Well, the Rays now 0-5. Saw where Manny got the day off. Manny's 1 for 16. Damon took an 0-for. He's 1 for 15 to start the year.
LaRoche fouls it off. 1-2.
And of course, an early blow to the Rays, the fact that Evan Longoria was placed on the disabled list with an oblique strain.
Ryan Howard is homered tonight, and the Phillies have a 4-0 lead over the Mets in the bottom of the third. Here Volstad trying to get out of a long second inning.
Well, I tell you what, Rich, these are games where you're a fielder. You're playing behind Chris Volstad. It's a labor out there. You've got to stay on your toes. He's working slowly. Strike zone is smaller. And you've got to really be alive for a ball hit your way, but it's tougher to do when you have this kind of pace.
Hanley has to charge this one. He'll glove it and throw on the run in time. The inning is over. But the Nationals strike first tonight, 3 in the second, 3-0. By Toyota, moving forward by AT&T, by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, and by Xfinity, where you're home for the most live sports. Donnie Murphy, Emilio Bonifacio, Chris Volstad. Ball game moving right along, crisply played so far. Who am I kidding?
I knew you couldn't say that with a straight face.
Murphy swings and misses. And now Levon, see, this is where Levon excels. He gets a lead and he can toy with you. As you pointed out in the scouting report, he can play with the hitter.
He can do that with the best of them.
0-2. It's outside. Murphy, of course, a big hit last night. For a lot of reasons, it won the ball game. And about 15 minutes after he ended the ball game, this place was underwater with a huge rainstorm. Murphy strikes out. He was mic'd up during batting practice before tonight's game.
Mic check 1 2 2, like the number. There's a lot of people that are shorter than me in this league. How tall is Uggs? His forearm is the size of my two combined. He's probably the only strength coach in baseball that does his hair, though.
A strike to Bonifacio.
Marlins strength and conditioning coach Paul Fournier. Guys like to have a lot of fun with him.
That's because he's the guy that busts their chops.
Oh, yeah.
Day in and day out.
Makes them get out there for stretch every day. Same time. Works with them tirelessly all spring.
Bonifacio, liner into right field. That's a base hit and a good start to the season. 6 for 12 is Bonifacio.
That pitch stayed up a little bit, allowed Bonifacio to get enough of his lumber on it, get himself a base hit. Bonifacio 6 for 12.
Now Volstad in a 3-0 ball game with 1 out. Chris shortens the bunt, drops it down first base side. Levon is going to flip on over to first. And so that'll give Coughlin a shot at an RBI with 2 outs. This copyright telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
It's a good job by Chris Volstad. He had 9 sacrifice bunts last year, and he's become a very good bunter and trying to help himself there with a nice bunt to get Bonifacio in scoring position.
Coughlin takes a strike. It's 0-1. Chris singled in the first. Nationals and Marlins in game 2. Final is tomorrow night. The Marlins will leave immediately following tomorrow night's game to Houston, and will be part of the Astros home opener on Friday night.
Yeah, that'll be Ricky Nolasco against the lefty Wandy Rodriguez.
Marlins will see Bud Norris and Jay Happ as well. All 3 of the starters for the Astros, Wandy, Norris, and Happ, got knocked around in their first starts. Their ERAs are all over 10. Roller to right, and LaRoche cuts it off, gets to the bag, and Coughlin is out. Levon has himself a 3-0 lead. .3-0 Nationals on top in the third, and he'll try to clean it up against Michael Morse, Rick Ankiel, and Danny Espinoza.
50 pitches. That's number 51 from Chris Volstad already.
Morse, a slow start, 2 for 16. Hanley backing up, better hurry, and he does. Good strong arm. And Morse is out. There's 1 out. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Frank Fort. Francis, how are you?
Very well, Rich. Thank you. As we know so far in 4 games plus this season, Logan Morrison has already hit 2 home runs. Now that doubles his major league total. Why is that significant? Well, when the Marlins did their off-season visit overseas to Southwest Asia and Germany, for example, at the Kaiserslautern High School, invariably the question that would come up is, how many home runs have you hit in your career? Well, of course, the Hall of Famer Andre Dawson said 438. Jeff Conine said, I've got 214. John Buck said 90. And Lomo would always sheepishly say, well, I've got 2. Of course, he hasn't been in the big leagues that long, but it became kind of a running joke on the overseas tour among the Marlins contingent that Logan have to keep saying that he only had 2 home runs. Well, as we've seen, he has doubled that total, and certainly more to come this season. Rich and Tommy, back to you.
That's I think, as Tommy pointed out last night, Logan profiles into a guy that's going to hit more home runs. The older he gets, the stronger he gets.
Yeah, I can picture him 15 to 20 home runs. Solid years, maybe good year a little bit more, but just a solid player. By the way, good changeup. So it looks like Chris Volstad's got a couple quick outs. He's needed that, and he got the last out, got Ankiel on a changeup. Ground ball to first base.
Here's Espinosa. He singled and scored back in the second. This, of course, a former a team that used to be the Expos. You don't hear much about the Expos much at all anymore, which is a shame. Espinosa pops it towards Morrison and left, and that's exactly what Chris Volstad needed. A nice, tidy, quick 3rd inning. Top of the Marlins. It's the bottom of the 3rd, Sun Life Stadium. Here's our poll. Remember last night, lots of suggestions where to take Lomo to lunch on the road trip. Langford Grocery and Market. Now, we had like 5 emails saying Village Whiskey in Philly, but apparently those fans aren't with us tonight. The Varsity is in the lead in Atlanta. 789-789. You can text your choice, A, B, C, or D.
We found out something very interesting about the Varsity. Of course, Atlanta, the headquarters for Coca-Cola, and the Varsity sells more Coca-Cola than any establishment in the world, correct?
Yeah, the Coca-Cola Museum is right downtown as well. And if you're in Atlanta, it's not a bad place to go, especially if you're on your way to the fine aquarium they have downtown. Infante fouls it back. Hanley Ramirez, Gabby Sanchez against Levon Hernandez. It was a rocky start for Levon in the first. He walked the bases loaded. He was angry with Tim Cheetah, the home plate umpire. But once his team got him 3 runs, all is right in the world. It's an incredible story. Marlin fans who were around back when Levon Hernandez arrived in '97, he was 9-3, a 3.18 ERA and 17 starts. Second in the Rookie of the Year voting to Scott Rowland. Out of Cuba, And of course, the baseball players in Cuba making a minuscule amount of money. And so Levon Hernandez defects, comes to the U.S. He's made over $50 million playing baseball. Fonte in the center field. And Ankiel is there and he makes the catch.
Became the MVP of the championship series, the MVP of the World Series. Went 2-0 in each of those series. And will always, which he did in '97, endeared himself to Miami fans and the Miami area. Makes his home here.
He, of course, had his Chamber of Commerce moment when he belted out, "I love you, Miami." He was an All-Star twice, once as an Expo in '04 and once as a National when they moved to Washington, D.C. in 2005. There's Expos news in baseball today. Blue Jays president Paul Beeston indicating he would like to play a game or two in Montreal. Montreal hasn't seen baseball since the Expos left after the 2004 season. Pop up. Espinoza makes the catch. Baker Concrete Super Saturdays back in 2011, and with a 16-game Super Saturday plan, you can get all 11 Super Saturdays plus closing day and 4 other great matchups, all for as little as $12 a game. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com.
Where do you think, Rich, they would play those games? I mean, would they go back to Olympic Stadium? Because I believe Old Jerry Park is still available as well, the outdoor facility.
Really?
Not sure on that. I know they have a big tennis tournament every year at Jerry Park, Park Jerry.
You think they could convert it back to baseball?
Yeah, that's what I would like to know. Yeah, if they planned on going back to Olympic Stadium indoors. To me, it would seem a lot more fun to do it on a beautiful summer day outdoors at Old Park Jerry
instead of indoors in early April. Or outdoors in early April, for that matter. On top of the Marlins, Chris Volstad had a 1-2-3 third.
An 8-pitch inning in the third.
Pudge Rodriguez, Levon Hernandez, Ian Desmond. on a Wednesday night here in South Florida. Last night was an email Tuesday. We had a few stragglers come in that we were unable to get to last night. Texans for Teal checked in from the Texas Motor Speedway for a weekend of NASCAR. Apparently they were watching the Marlins on their, they got the dish on top of the camper, so they were watching the Marlins getting ready for the NASCAR event.
Might have had a cooler alongside, perhaps.
We had a few of your buddies check in as well.
Who checked in, Rich?
Your favorite bartender. Anytime you get a note that says it's your favorite bartender, you got to get that on the air, don't you? Hanley up the line, safe. Gabby's swipe tag missed. Pudge is safe. Hanley's got a throwing error. And a routine play goes awry.
Hanley's made a couple of errors this year, and they've both been throwing errors. I don't know if it's me, and I'm certainly going to talk to Perry Hill about it tomorrow. It just doesn't look like Hanley feels comfortable throwing. It looks like he's trying to aim everything over to first instead of just confidently relaxing, just going through and following with his delivery over there.
We talk so much about arm slots for pitchers. A lot of times infielders go through that same issue. They drop their arm. They can't find that right arm slot. Levon trying to get down the bunt. Volstad.
That's automatic.
Yep. Gets the out. All right, before I get to your favorite bartender, here's our AT&T trivia question. The question is, who is Tommy's favorite bartender? Who holds the Sun Life Stadium record for complete games?
Oh, wow, he did that.
I'll tell you what, Levon Hernandez is second right now to Roy Halladay among active pitchers for complete games. Levon's got 49. Halladay has an amazing 58. Third on that list is the ancient one, Jamie Moyer, at 33.
Who is now doing a little national TV work. Good to see Jamie keeping busy during his rehab time
from Tommy John
surgery.
He plans on pitching again next year. Don't know if he'll be able to add to that total of complete games, though.
Let's see, the trivia, most complete games here. You have to think about Dontrell Willis. Have to think about Levon. Kevin Brown, maybe.
Ball smoked left center field, deep, and it makes a dent in the wall, and that's going to score a run. Tell you what, Ian Desmond was scuffling coming into this ball game, but he's 3 for 3, a bunt single and 2 rocket base hits.
Well, sometimes getting the chance to sit one night, and really it was twofold because it allowed Jim Riggleman to get Alex Cora in the game. It allowed him to get some at bats. Jerry Hairston was able to play. Well, you sit one night, come back fresh, and Desmond has been fresh with 3 solid at bats.
Here's Worth, who's lined out and walked, and he takes inside. Anyways, your favorite bartender, Rob from Rooney's, wants to know, Andres Galarraga has the longest home run in Sun Life Stadium. What was the distance on it, and do you think Mike Stanton someday can break that record?
Oh, that's a good question. Rob, there's a fine little establishment up in Abacoa.
Quit pandering for free drinks.
Rooney's Pub. But anyway, it's the distance on Galarraga was 511, over 500 feet. And do I think Mike Stanton someday will hit the longest home run here? Maybe. And if he doesn't do it this year, he'll be hitting long home runs at the new ballpark. But it was somewhere up in that area, a little right of the Joe Robbie. Somewhere in that area, right in there. It was a blast.
So I thought you were
and it was off Kevin Brown.
I thought you were going to use your stretchy arrow for that.
Doesn't go that far.
I'll bet you if we gave you a wide shot, it could.
Do you think the stretchy arrow would go that far?
Yeah, give T. Hunt a wide shot. Go for it.
Well, let's see. From here, it was up in that area. Yeah, it does go that far. Wow.
We're really trying to amuse ourselves here in the fourth inning. 4-0 Nationals on top. Worth with the count 3-1. Volstad already at 72 pitches. That one a roller up the middle. Hanley has it. Fires to first in time. So that throw was on the mark. The Nationals have a runner at third with 2 outs. And here comes Zimmerman. It's 4-0 Nationals beating the Fish, and one surprise here is that Zimmerman hasn't done all that much damage against Volstad. He does have a sacrifice fly, but he's bounced into a fielder's choice. He's now at .529 career against Chris. Oh, that's not the average? That was the home run distance.
Yeah, I said 5'11". It was 5'29".
All right, Crackstaff, what's Zimmerman hitting against Volstad then?
Wouldn't that be something if it was 5'29" now?
Oh, it was 619 to start the night. So just add an 0 for 1 there. So 529 for Galarraga, huh?
Big Cat makes his home in South Florida. See him occasionally at some charity golf tournaments. Also saw Andres Galarraga a little bit in spring training with the Braves. He was in camp with Atlanta instructing for a while.
There's your answer, 591. Zimmerman goes after a high fastball. Volstad's out in front, 1-2. Ian Desmond with 3 hits, a pair of doubles, and a bunt single. He's driven in 2 runs. Nationals a 4-0 lead. Marlins got game 1 last night. Nationals a quick start tonight. Zimmerman takes that breaking ball outside.
You hate to let the Nationals pile on too many runs because there's still plenty of time. A 4-0 lead in the 4th inning isn't that huge, but the Marlins haven't been real prolific in scoring runs early this season. 15 runs in 4 games.
No one has been getting that pitch all night. Volstad kind of walked toward the dugout like he thought he was going to. And it's out. And he lost him.
By the way, we were having that discussion about the possibility, Paul Beeston, president of the Blue Jays, thinking about taking a series to Montreal. We're talking about Jerry Park. It is now all tennis. So not able to play baseball there. There's still some remnants of the old park.
That would make for a very quick infield.
Yeah, be very fast, yeah. So if a series was played there, it would have to be at Olympic Stadium.
I wonder what kind of shape Olympic Stadium is in right now.
I don't know.
Here's Adam LaRoche. Volstad misses outside to LaRoche. In that article, Alex Anthopoulos, who's the general manager of the Blue Jays, grew up in Montreal and became a baseball fan there watching the Expos. Beeston pointed out that in the old days the Blue Jays played exhibition games in Vancouver. The Marlins almost ended up in Vancouver, in Ottawa and Calgary, and they tried to play one in New Brunswick, but they were snowed out. And that was too bad for a youngster who grew up in New Brunswick, who is playing on this team. And that's Matt Stairs. A little flip. And Gabby is there. There he is. The pride of New Brunswick. Your wake-up call just arrived, Matt. Fox Sports Florida brought to you by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. A struggle tonight so far for the Fish. The Nationals a 4-0 lead, and Levon Hernandez is on the mound. Chris Volstad already has thrown 80 pitches. Levon with his 48th of the ball game, and it's a strike to Morrison. John Buck, Donnie Murphy will follow. Lomo a walk back in the first. Marlins had opportunity back in the first. That's going to be a foul ball. Coughlin singled, but Infante bounced into a double play. And then Levon got squeezed by Tim Cheetah, walking Hanley, walking Gabby, and walked Morrison. And then faced Buck with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Buck went out of the strike zone and swung at a couple pitches that were outside, and ended up flying out to end the inning. Morrison skies one to right. Worth makes the catch. All right, did you going with Dontrell? Did Beckett finish a lot of games here?
I'm going to say Dontrell. Ha. See, they laid that on a platter for us because Levon is out there starting tonight for Washington. And we didn't take the bait.
Here's Buck, and he takes outside.
You know, fans in New York, Yankee fans, are really, really disappointed tonight. Number one, their game was postponed. The Yankees game was postponed. Number two, it was against Minnesota, and Carl Pavano was pitching for the Twins tonight.
Was there some promotion attached to that, or?
I don't know. Maybe not officially.
One, two. Buck takes down low. The count's 2-2. Buck hits it hard, and it kicks off the glove of Desmond. And John's got himself a base hit.
That ball was smoked. And all you can do as an infielder, a shortstop in this case, you try to flag it down. He has been given an error.
There's no way.
I'm not even going to comment. No comment.
It can't be an error.
There's no way. Just because he made 34 errors last year, there's no reason to tag that on as an error.
Little roller, Zimmerman out there, and that's it. Murphy is safe at first. This is one that they're going to look at between innings and change. They've got to.
There's no question. Yeah, we saw, the other day we saw, and rightfully so, Gabby hit a ball that skipped over the glove of the first baseman. And it was a base hit. And it wasn't even hit as hard as that ball was. So that will be changed. There's no question.
Bonifacio now. Emilio singled in the second, and he takes down low. Pitcher is on deck, Chris Volstad. It's 2-0 to Bonifacio. Now 3-0.
Yeah, in this case, you have to. You can't dip into that bullpen this early all the time, so you have to try to squeeze another inning at least, and maybe two out of Chris Volstad.
The ball strike ratio for these two pitchers is just awful tonight. Levon has thrown 31 strikes, 29 balls with a shot right to LaRoche. Volstad is dead even, 40 strikes, 40 balls in this ball game. 4-0 Nationals. In the top of the fifth inning, Chris Volstad gets Michael Morse, Rick Ankiel, and Danny Espinoza. Morse is 0 for 2. Nova High School. We talked about Morse last night. He's 29 now. 12th professional season. Sends that one down the right field line, and it's foul.
You know, in just under 100 games last year, 98 games, he hit 289 and had 15 home runs. And really, at that point, they weren't sure if he was going to be an everyday player. But he had a good spring. He won that job in left field. I think he's one of those guys that they always wondered, where was he going to play? What position?
Tommy, I don't want to push your buttons here, but I'm looking at the scoreboard, and that error is still up there.
It'll change.
It's a ground ball. Murphy backing up on it. Connie loads up, throws it across. Now, this will make you feel better since your favorite bartender asked for it in an email. Here is the Big Cat longest home run in Sun Life Stadium history. What they say, 529?
Back up, hanging slider. Kevin Brown threw it and then watched it a little bit, but that's halfway, at least halfway, if not more, up those tarps in left center. 529.
Wow. They do not in this stadium give distances anymore for home runs. I'm not sure, and that's a good question next time we have David Sampson on, if in the new stadium the Marlins will do that, will change that and start giving home run distances. You can get home run distances now off the website, I believe, is hittracker.com.
Yeah, we talked about that last year a little bit. Hey, by the way, I was just looking back. Kevin Brown that year was 16-8 with a 2.69 ERA and only allowed 10 home runs.
That one was worth 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Morrison is in and calling for it. He makes the catch. So there are 2 outs here, 2 quick ones in the 5th. Orange and blue, fire up the tailgate in your backyard and get ready for college football. Scott's will bring you live coverage of the orange and blue spring game on Sun Sports. Saturday at noon, we'll see the Gators take on the Gators. I'm not sure who's favored in that one, orange or blue. But I'll bet you somewhere you could put money on that.
And somewhere there's a statistic as to who has won that more, orange or blue. Our producer, John Sulzer, may know.
Espinoza.
You know, one quick thing I wanted to talk about Chris Volstad on. We talked about Levon Hernandez, a much longer career, never being on the disabled list. Chris Volstad, in his professional career, coming up in the minor leagues, his time with the Marlins, has never been on the disabled list. And that's a good sign for a young pitcher. He's been consistent in that area. He just needs to become consistent with his pitches and on the mound. But he's been able to keep himself healthy.
By the way, that home run website, hittrackeronline.com. Volstad 4 2/3 innings here, 4 hits. 3 of the 4 runs are earned. He's walked 4, hasn't struck out anyone, and Mujica is up. The error by Hanley Ramirez in the 4th came around to score. And a high fastball finishes Espinoza. Halfway through this one, 4-0 Nats. tomorrow night. The Nationals and the Marlins finish off the series. We jump on a plane. We'll be in Houston. Season opener for the Astros. All the pomp and circumstance and all that deep in the heart of Texas Friday night. No TV on Saturday. Back on Sunday. And then we've got all the rest of the games on that road trip in Atlanta and Philadelphia. We live forward with Just for Men hair color. Scott Cousins gets the AB for Chris Volstad, who goes 5 innings. 4-0 Nationals lead. Cousins swings and fouls it back.
Saw that pitching matchup tomorrow. Josh Johnson against the lefty John Lannon. JJ trying to get his second win of the season. This has always, for me, been, you think of a matchup like this, a tough guy to pinch hit off of. If you come off the bench, especially if you're a young pinch hitter, you want a guy who's throwing hard. And you come off the bench against Levon Hernandez, and you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
JJ tomorrow night. John Lannon, one of the best on the Nationals rotation, will go. Levon Hernandez, the opening day starter for the Nationals. Cousins takes that pitch inside. And it's 2-2. Cousins fights it off. Scott pinch hitting here. One for 6 on the season. And is picking at the corner. 3-2.
And Scott Cousins having a nice at bat against Levon. 10 times Levon Hernandez has gone 200 innings or more.
And he rolled over on it.
Change up, 3-2 change up.
Grounds it out to Espinoza. And we check in with Frank Ford.
Thanks, Rich. We all know what a good baseball player Ryan Zimmerman is, but he also does good work off the field through his ZIMS Foundation. That's an acronym for the first 2 letters of his last name and multiple sclerosis. Now, his mom, Cheryl, was diagnosed with MS in 1995. She's been in a wheelchair since 2000. MS, of course, is a potentially debilitating disease of the central nervous system. Among the events, he has the requisite golf tournament, but he also has a dinner every year at the University of Virginia where he played college baseball. And, guys, he has it in his contract that he gets use of the Nationals ballpark one night a year. He has a night outing at the ballpark, which is a meal and a concert to help raise money in the fight against MS. So good work being done off the field as well by Ryan Zimmerman through his ZIMS Foundation. Richard Tommy?
We'll have to ask Zim who he's got booked for the concert.
For the concert, yeah.
If it's U2, he's going to need that stadium for 2 weeks.
As we found out this year.
As the Marlins found out last year and this year. U2's concert and stage so elaborate, they have 3 of them. One where they're playing, one where they just left, and one where they're going. And they just kind of move those stages around on the tour. Coughlin turns on one, drills it down the right field line. That ball's going to get to the wall. Chris around first and into second with his second hit. He had a night last night, Tommy, where you could see it was starting to come for him. He hit the ball hard just about every time up last night.
You know, he had a double his first time up, so he has 2 doubles already. And this one is going to be our checkers double of the game. A solid Chris Coughlin swing. In contrast to last year, it took Cogs until May 10th, 104 at-bats before he picked up his first extra base hit. And he already has 2 doubles this year.
Now Infante. He tries to bunt. Coughlin's one of those guys that seems to have figured Levon out in his career. He's now 7 for 12 against him. Brian Sanchez his 4-inning effort this weekend. He said the arm feels great, and that was indeed his longest career outing.
Long and successful. That was a nice outing. And as we pointed out, really picked up the bullpen and allowed the bullpen to do what they did last night.
Breaking ball, Infante hits it in the air to center field. Ankiel on his way back. Coughlin's tagging. And Chris is going to make it to third, although Ankiel shows off that arm. He had a throw from deep center to the home plate last night that was fun to watch as well. FoxSportsFlorida.com, the place to go to find the latest news surrounding your favorite Florida sports teams. Post-game coverage for tonight's matchup. Find video analysis from the Heat game. Read about LeBron and Eric Spoelstra being in sync. It's all on FoxSportsFlorida.com. Hanley has walked and popped out.
Talking to John Maley, Marlins hitting instructor, about Hanley, because we mentioned it last night. He just appears to not yet quite have the timing ready. Hanley just 3 for 19 on the year. And some things that he's working on. He's thinking up the middle the other way, but just hasn't quite gotten things in sync. And I think we all know once Hanley gets it in sync, there's some pitchers that are going to pay the price. And with Hanley up there, the Marlins are one swing away from making this a 2-run game. That's the way you have to look at this.
Well, Levon rarely gives you a cookie on 2-0. Slow breaking ball, fair ball down the line. Coughlin scores. Hanley's got extra bases. And the Marlins at the very least are on the board.
When you're thinking the other way and you're trying to get your timing, and even on a 2-0 pitch, you got the slow breaking ball. But when you're thinking the other way, you're able to react and still have a good swing. The foot was planted, but the hand stayed back, and he was able to hit that ball hard past Zimmerman at third.
Now Gabby, who lined to right and walked himself. Levon's brother El Duque was here last night and is supposed to be back here again tonight, and I suspect he's at the ballpark. Brought his little league team with him. Pitch is in. It's 2-0. He got the 2-0 breaking ball as well.
It's frustrating. You go up there and you'd hate to look for the 2-0 breaking ball, because just when you do that, Levon would throw you that nice 2-0 84-mile-an-hour fastball.
It's out. Levon's pitch count is at 81. Morrison's on deck.
Well, we've seen one of the strengths of this ball club, even last year, is their bullpen. And they do have a very solid bullpen. So the Marlins will see that tonight.
That's outside as well. With good patience by Gabby, a pair of walks. The Marlins still need a hit to make this inning pay off even more. Got Hanley at second, Gabby's at first. Morrison has walked and popped to right.
You know, the fly ball that Logan Morrison hit to right field, it just goes down as a shallow fly ball. But you know what? He had a heck of a swing, and he just got under it. He was on the pitch. That's the first walk that Levon has issued since that first inning.
outside.
But against a guy like Levon Hernandez, especially if you're a left-handed hitter, you just can't think home run.
No, because you'll think fastball, and you'll get that 78-mile-an-hour dead fish that Morrison just got. And if you do try to hit it out, you'll roll over and hit it to second base. And Morrison's doing a nice job of laying off two pitches that were out of the zone. There's Buck. You almost feel like Levon would rather pitch to Buck in this situation.
That he doesn't care if he pitches to Buck with bases loaded.
Yes.
Yeah. Even though Buck singled last time up against him.
Yeah, just keep saying that. It'll happen. It did happen.
He did.
They just changed it. Lomo takes inside. It's 3-0. They have just changed that John Buck shot in the 4th inning that ate up Ian Desmond. It's now a base hit.
Didn't even need wide out. I had hit all the way.
So what do you expect 3-0 from Levon if you're Morrison?
Oh boy, you know, it's hard to sit fastball. You might just kind of think backwards with him and think off speed.
That's a roller up the third base line, and it's foul.
And he got a changeup, a 3-0 changeup.
And he broke the end of his bat.
But he was out in front. Boy, look at a piece of that bat going up the first base line, the ball going down the third base line.
Marlins are fortunate it went foul because obviously Hanley would have been out at third. Does he get anything better to hit at 3-1?
No. If he sees a fastball, it's going to be one he probably just tries to turn over. He's not going to give anything to Lomo that he can pull.
He was down.
And it was the changeup again.
Tommy, you go back to the John Buck at bat in the 1st inning. Levon had just walked the bases loaded. And Buck went after a first pitch breaking ball that was well outside. And from that pitch on, Levon had his number in that at bat.
And then he had a better at bat when he hit that ball hard, that base hit past the shortstop in the 4th inning.
Is this one of those strategic walks that we talked about at the start of the telecast?
I think it certainly was to Logan Morrison, without question.
It's a big moment in the ball game for the Fish as they try to climb back in. And Levon, that's about where that first pitch was of that at bat back in the 1st inning.
It appears that each at bat, John Buck is seeing him better. You know, he's had a better approach than he did that first time.
There's Doug Slayton. Ooh, left that one right over the middle of the plate. Ball and a strike. Did not come back and get the plate. It's not in Tim Cheetah's mind. So it's 2-1 with the bags filled with Marlins. Hanley, Gabby Sanchez, Logan Morrison.
Well, with John Buck's grand slam opening night, he has 3 career grand slams.
Breaking ball, and he had a good one to hit.
Another pretty good one to hit. Anytime you see Levon lead that breaking ball over the middle of the plate, you know he's made a little mistake.
2-2.
Oh. Those two, number 2 and number 4, were little breaking balls that had a good part of the plate.
There's not much that Either of those men have not seen or done.
That's it. That's a great combo right there, yeah. Levon saying, you think I could run my fastball in on his hands after all the soft stuff? Pudge may have said, you used to be able to do that, Levon. I'm not sure about now. But there's some thinking going into this next pitch on John Buck's part, too.
Two and two, bottom five. Levon is ready. We'll see what Buck gets. Fastball, and it misses outside. And so the bags loaded with a 3-2 count and 2 outs. Everybody will be moving.
Believe it or not, 88 miles an hour, one of the harder fastballs he's thrown. I don't think he sees 88 on this 3-2 pitch.
There go the runners. Breaking ball. And it's fouled back. That seems to be the pitch that he's been able to throw for a strike in this at bat.
And again, a pretty good one to hit.
Levon wanted a new baseball. Buck needed some new Velcro.
You could really think a lot and think too much sometimes. Well, he wants a new baseball because he's going to throw a breaking ball because he didn't like the grip of the other one.
Another 3-2. Fastball in.
He finally tried to run that fastball in. See how you can outthink yourself sometimes? I don't think he does that again, though. And through it all, John Buck's having a solid at bat.
Runners on the move again. Another 3-2. Fastball drilled right center field deep. And Keel back. Looking up. It is gone. No, it's still in play. Ball's in play. 3-run score. Here comes Buck. It's a triple. The Marlins think it's gone. Edwin is coming out. This one might be reviewed. It looked like it hit near the top of the wall. There's a railing out there, and we've seen it come into play time in and time out in this football stadium that the Marlins call home. And now the umpires will get together. If it's gone, it's Buck's second grand slam in a week.
What an unbelievable at-bat.
That's off the top of the wall, it looks like. That looks like it's off the top of the wall.
Yeah, you can see it hit that padding. I think they got it right. Either way, it's a tie game, and it's an unbelievable, tremendous at bat by John Buck, who did get the fastball again.
Now remember, Major League Baseball has in New York all the camera feeds from the Marlins telecast, from the Nationals telecast, and they'll be able to take the angles they want and then feed those angles back to this stadium, to the video monitor, where the umpiring crew will take a look at it. But just from the views that you and I looked at, Tommy, it looked like it hit the yellow line and bounced back into play.
You could see the little indentation on the padded wall. Watch when it hits. Right there. There's a little indentation you can see right there. Either way, I can't say it enough. A tremendous at bat. And if it is a triple, not a home run, a tie game. One of the few times tonight Levon went back to back with fastballs.
It's a triple. The umpires have jogged back out. Tim Cheetah points to third base. And the Marlins will have to settle for 3. Here's another look at the pitch.
He fouled off fastball. He came with the fastball again, but again, middle of the plate. 8th pitch of the at-bat. And look at it, as soon as he hit it, watch Levon's reaction. He knew that he hit it well.
Well, Buck's at third. There's 2 outs. Here's Donnie Murphy.
Well, John Buck now with 7 RBIs.
Murphy's 0 for 2. Donnie Murphy, a smash. Zimmerman stumbles after picking it up. And the Marlins come back and tie the ball game. Buck asking Tim Cheetah about the replay. He seems all right with it. He'll have to settle for a 3-run triple to tie the game.
En español vía Zap y es presentado por KFC.
You know, between innings, we had the home plate mics up. John Buck came out, and Tim Cheetah told John, he said, I thought you got it there. I thought you hit it out. And Buck said, yeah, well, I'm not greedy. I'll take a 3-run triple.
Now, there's a bond. There's always a bond between the catcher and the home plate umpire.
Hey, press the SAP button on your remote and you'll get a 3-run triple as well. Or, as Brian Sanchez comes in the ball game, pitch is fouled back. Oh, look at this! Look at this lineup. Every night we get Tony and Cookie.
Hey guys, I got to ask both of you. That was a tremendous at bat from John Buck, wasn't it?
Well, we saw a replay the other day. You know, they did the same thing, 6-7 foul balls, and then a grand slam. And I thought this ball was out of the ballpark, Tony. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was out. I don't know what happens with what the umpires see, but I see that ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, it hit right. The replay we had, it hit right on that padded yellow line at the top of the wall.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, hit right on top of the yellow.
So if it hits the yellow, it goes behind the fence, then it's a home run. If not,
but it came back into play. Yeah.
Came back in play. Well,
I see.
Ground ball to short. Hanley has it.
Hanley.
And he throws him out.
Hey, I got a question for Cookie, Rich.
Okay.
Cookie,
yes.
A couple of times this year, it just looks like Hanley's uncomfortable with throw. What do you see? It looks like he tries to aim the ball, or he's made 2 bad throws. He has 2 errors this year, and they've both been on throws.
I think that both of them, and I was talking to Tony Perez about it, is when he throws the ball, he drops his wrist to the right side, and the ball is sinking towards first base and getting Sanchez out of the base. If he gets on top the fingers, you know, the ball is going to go more straight and he'll be more accurate on his throws.
Lance Nix
Lanzamiento, bola, pegada.
Pinch hitting for Levon Hernandez. All right, guys, have a good show.
You too, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Nix, the muscular left-handed hitter. Sanchez, of course, on Sunday, 4 scoreless innings. That was in a 9-2 loss to the Mets. Marlins bullpen last night was outstanding. That bullpen going to need to be again tonight. The Nationals a 4-0 lead. That has disappeared. Chad Godin in the bullpen.
A couple of guys we've seen a little bit over the years. Lance Nix at the plate. Godin warming up in the bullpen.
Changeup. Probably actually a split. And it's pulled foul.
Well, that pitch is so effective to left-handers.
Good matchup tomorrow night. High definition. We start our night with Marlins Live at 6:30. Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine. I'm sorry. Tomorrow is a Frank Fort start. Swing and a miss. Ball in the dirt. Buck digs it out. There's that splitter. It throws him out. Forgot to look at the probable pitchers for tomorrow, and I did not see Frank's name. We can ask Frank about the new ballpark.
Probables for Marlins Live.
Nobody knows more about the new ballpark than Frank, and you can pick your seats in the new Marlins ballpark. Be part of the future. Marlins baseball in Miami. Place a deposit today. Just call the new Marlins ballpark sales headquarters at 1-877-411-2012 or go to marlins.com/new ballpark. Well, let's see if Sanchez can get Ian Desmond out. Desmond has doubled twice loudly and had a beautiful bunt single to drive in a run and surprise the Marlins in the second. Hanley. Now that's a play. That's a play.
Yeah.
Hanley Ramirez on a hot smash off the bat of Ian Desmond. We go to the bottom of the 6th. All tied up. 4-4. Murphy mic'd up for BP tonight.
It feels awesome out here. Yeah, I noticed like the 3 coaches that hit us ground balls, they all hit different ones.
Oh, it's called Mr. Walkoff now, or what?
That's fine.
That's
I
fine.
guess.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
You're all right with that?
Yeah.
5 or 6 more times.
I like that. Absolutely.
Jeff Conine getting on the youngster there. Chad Godin, his numbers last year.
Seems like Chad Godin has been around forever. He's just 28, but he's been in Tampa and Oakland with the Cubs, the Yankees. Mainly fastballs, cutters, and sliders.
There's a strike on the outside corner to Emilio Bonifacio. It's a new ball game. If you say you started the evening out with us in those first 2 innings, which took about an hour and 20 minutes to play, and it was 4-0, and you said to yourself, maybe not. And then you just flip back over, and it's like, hey, it's 4-4. You've missed some good stuff. There's Greg Dobbs getting ready to pinch hit. John Buck, an epic at bat against Levon Hernandez. Hit the ball off the very top of the wall in that corner and right center, about 404 feet from home plate for a 3-run triple that tied the game. This is certainly a different look speed-wise. And the velocity on Godin's fastball a few ticks up from Levon.
Yeah, now you're seeing some stuff in the 90s from Godin.
Bonifacio singled and lined out. Ooh, wow. Bonifacio doesn't like that call. And so there's one out. Our poll question. There's a new leader, Lankford Grocery and Market in Houston.
Do we know exactly what area of Houston that is?
Is that Ray Lankford, the former Cardinal? Here's Dobbs. Greg Dobbs has done a nice job pinch hitting so far. 1 for 2. Has driven in 2 runs.
Well, and each time he's driven in a run,
it's been a big one.
Been a run that's tied the game. Well, it's going to be another night, as we talked about the bullpen last night. 5 pitchers that were used, from Ryan Webb to Mike Dunn to Hensley, Nunez, Mujica. Allowed just 1 hit and no runs.
Dobbs rolls one into right field. And you know what, Tommy? This is a guy that came into spring training having had 2 off years in Philadelphia. He had a bad year in 09. Charlie Manuel loved the guy. He had such a good start in Philly. That earned him another year. He just couldn't get it together last year. And he told us in spring training he changed his approach.
Made a you know what some would say a big change, but he'd gotten in a little bit of a habit of trying to lift the ball, trying to hit balls out of Citizens Bank. Went back to his more solid swing. Line drive swing into left field, pull some balls. And we've seen him do that. We saw him do it all spring.
Now Coughlin, who has doubled, singled, and bounced out. Pudge is quite good at that. In fact, if in the All-Star game they had a skills competition, that would be one of the skills, and it would be between Pudge and the Molina brothers.
The reason catchers like to do that with a left-handed batter, because sometimes you get blocked out as a runner. You can't see.
Coughlin's 2 hits equaling his total coming into the night. This, of course, game 5. Chris, a slicing line drive towards the corner. That's in there. Dobbs is racing for third. Morse picks it up. And Coughlin has a double. Dobbs stops at third, and the Marlins in business.
That's the Chris Coghlan we came to know and love in his rookie year in 2009. Spraying balls to left field, pulling balls down the right field line. That's just a beautiful swing. Think about it tonight. His single in the first inning was up the middle. His double in the fifth was to right field, and now he doubles down the left field line.
Now a big at bat for Omar Infante, who's flied to center twice, bounced into a double play.
Infield's going to be in, and right now Desmond's about halfway at short, but we always talk about this infield because it's so fast. You can play a step or two back.
Infante trying to lift that ball. Went after a high breaking ball. It's 0-1. Godin in relief of Levon Hernandez. Joe Espada relaying whatever sign he just got from Edwin to Dobbs. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Dobbs will score. Coghlan to third. And Infante gives the Marlins a 5-4 lead.
It's always a nice feeling as a hitter. Get that infield in a little bit. Hit the ball on the ground. If you find one of those holes, it's going to get through in a hurry. And this one got between third and short quickly and put the Marlins ahead.
Now Hanley, and now let's see if the Marlins can add on. He's walked, popped out, and has an RBI double.
These are those at bats at times. Hanley gets a little over anxious. Then he has to work on being patient, get a good pitch hit, and drive in a run here in this situation.
Coghlan, 3 hits tonight.
He's trying to do a little too much with not a great pitch. But the whole key is that I liked Hanley at bat back in the 5th inning. He had a good at bat off Levon Hernandez.
Hit a 2-0 pitch and hit it hard down the third baseline for a double. That's out. And 2-1.
Marlins have been a lot better tonight with runners in scoring position than the last couple of games. How about that?
Absolutely. John Buck, the big hit. The bases loaded triple. Hanley dumps it down the right field line. It's a foul ball. That one had a chance to score both runs. Although Worth is a good outfielder, Infante was off and running. 2-2. Omar's over at first. Coghlan at third. Gabby's on deck. We'll see if Infante's running here with 1 out and the count full.
You can pretty much bet he's going to be on the move. You have to let Chris Coghlan know at third. Joe Espada talking to him what to do if, let's say, Hanley strikes out. And Infante's on the move, and Pudge throws.
Godin obviously trying to get Infante to tip his hand there. He's running.
Got the slider from Godin. This is a situation when you're running. After a few steps, when you get about halfway, you take that peek over your left shoulder because you want to try to follow the ball. You want to try to see what Hanley does.
There he goes. Roller towards short, and it climbs up Desmond's arm. Hanley is there. Coghlan scores. 6-4.
Do or die play for Ian Desmond with Infante on the move. He wasn't even thinking about two. He didn't have a play at second. So he sees Coghlan running, but the ball just climbed up his arm. So do or die, not even sure if he picks it and throws to the plate. He gets Coghlan because Chris got a good jump that was going on contact. Here he comes.
That will be an error.
It's an error, but an RBI, so Hanley picks his second RBI up of the night.
And now Gabby with just one out. Infante's at second, Hanley's at first. 2 walks and a line drive out for Gabby. Runners go! Out at third by a bunch. Remember, that's Pudge back there. And the Marlins getting a little too rambunctious.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I agree with that. If you do that, you got to be pretty much 100% sure you're going to steal the bag, and you've got to get a great jump. It was an adequate jump, not a great jump, and with Pudge back there, no chance for Infante.
Adequate jump.
Even with the trick slide, though.
Adequate jump, not a very big lead at second for Infante.
I think another reason you have to be 100% because you have Gabby up there, and on deck you have Lomo.
Now you don't want to waste that out.
Yeah.
It's a caught stealing. Hanley in scoring position, but Gabby's looking at a 1-2 count now. Gabby actually sacrificed a strike when he squared to bunt at that pitch in which Infante was thrown out. One and two. Gabby called time and was a bit surprised when Godin came to the plate.
I think sometimes the best thing for a pitcher to do, though, if you've kind of started things,
finish it.
Yeah, just finish it. Just throw it up there to the plate.
Did you see that?
As a quick pitch.
No, not only that. Watch Pudge. If we can replay that with audio, as Godin was about to come, Pudge kind of hopped up on the inside. Watch him and listen. Watch this. Pop the glove on the inside and then move to the outside.
You hear that as a hitter, you think, uh-oh, he's coming in.
Fastball threw it by him. But the Marlins strike for two and take the lead in this one, 6-4. holder in 2011, and you get to enjoy the best savings and benefits in the majors. Choose from a variety of plans, including full season, half season, 10-game flex plan, and more. Season ticket plans start at just $85, so secure your seats today. 1-877-MARLINS. Marlins baseball. Catch our moves.
Rich, we saw, as we get ready to talk a little bit about Edward Mujica, but we saw a couple of close-up shots of Omar Infante. This guy's an intense player. He's a smart player, and he's upset with himself. He knows that wasn't a good choice, and you can just see it on his look out there.
There is Jason Worth. Mujica delivers. Fastball that runs away. Worth, Zimmerman, and LaRoche. This is really the teeth of the order for the Nationals.
Mujica, he worked a 1-2-3-10th.
And picked up the win.
Got the win last night.
If the Marlins hold this lead, Brian Sanchez would get the win. There's Dunn in the bullpen. So a test for this bullpen tonight. They passed it last night. Murphy picks it off the dirt, fires across in time. The meltdown by the Marlins pen on Saturday night in extra innings against the Mets has kind of clouded what actually has been a pretty good start for the bullpen, raw numbers wise.
Well, I think you just have to look at the big picture. We saw these guys in the spring. We know there's some quality arms down there, and it's an improved bullpen from last year.
Now Zimmerman. And Mujica misses outside. Mujica, of course, the guy with the impeccable control last year in San Diego. Just 6 walks in 59 appearances. And I'm not sure about you, but when I read about the Maben trade and then saw Mujica's numbers, I had to go online to make sure that wasn't a misprint. The 6 walks in 69 innings, along with 72 strikeouts.
I think because of that, we've talked about it a little bit. It's one of the reasons he allowed 14 home runs. Sometimes in cases where maybe he should pitch around a hitter, he's going to go right after him.
Three and one. The Brewers are on top of the Braves 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th in Milwaukee. Cincinnati is clobbering Houston. They jumped all over them last night as well. 10-4 in the 6th.
How about the Brewers last night? Levon Gallardo threw a 2-hit shutout, a 1-0 win against the Atlanta Braves. Braves having a little trouble scoring. They've only scored 1 run tonight.
The Reds are having trouble losing. They're about to go 5-0. Mujica got him. He ran a fastball up under his hands at 92.
The last time Cincinnati went 4-0 was in 1990 when they won the World Series. He just climbed the ladder with Worth and finally put him away with another fastball.
How about the Pittsburgh Pirates at 4-2, and Kevin Correa is 2-0 as he beats Chris Carpenter today. 3-1 Pirates. LaRoche takes a strike. The Phillies and the Mets are in a wild game. It was a runaway early in which the Phillies had a 7-0 lead. Then the Mets came back to tie it 7-7. And the Phillies have scored 3 times since. It's 10-7 Phillies in the 8th.
I heard an interview today with Charlie Manuel, and it seems to be the common thought that Utley's going to be out for a while. It'll be a couple months at least. And he made reference to the fact that Lidge might be gone for a couple of months.
One and two. Poor Charlie.
Yeah, poor Charlie.
Having to make do with that rotation.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. And Mojica misses down low. Well, you know, really, everybody focused on the rotation, as well they should. But the age of the Phillies.
Hey, the other hand, Rollins has gotten off to a good start.
Yep.
Howard has gotten off to a good start. Ibanez is swinging the bat well.
John Mabry had a big hit. Ben Francisco is homered today. And Edward Mojica has worked a 1-2-3-7. Put that in the books.
That's kind of gone in two segments. Early on, it was the Washington Nationals. Snuck a run to the plate on a throw from Donnie Murphy. Then the fourth inning, Ian Desmond. He has had a hot bat tonight, 3 base hits. He picks up an RBI. But all of a sudden, the Marlins start to creep back into this thing. Hanley Ramirez on an off-speed pitch doubles. And then how about the at-bat, an 8-pitch at-bat by John Buck, just missing another grand slam, a triple off the top of the wall. That tied it 4-4.
Logan Morrison leads it off against Chad Godin. John Buck, Donnie Murphy to follow. Bottom of the 7th, 6-4 Fish. Morrison takes a breaking ball up. Godin's taking over for Levon Hernandez. 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 5 walks. And just a strikeout. Levon threw 97 pitches. And it was an uneven start for Chris Volstad for the Marlins. Whereas Levon had his troubles late, Volstad had his troubles early. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned for Volstad, 4 walks. He only had 1 strikeout. Chris threw 95.
You know, it's interesting the numbers that Levon has put up against his former team. We told you 13-10. The Lomo drawing the walk. 13-10 in his career in 31 starts. This is 32nd start was. But his last 5 starts, and it could be 6 depending on what happens tonight, his record 0-3 against the Marlins.
John Buck. Buck now with 7 RBIs to lead the club. And a high chopper, Zimmerman out there, double clutch, safe there. Morrison is out at second. Espinoza a little bit of trouble getting that out of his glove. All right, our poll. Where is Lomo going to lunch? The varsity is pulled back in front. 789-789. Standard text rates apply. I'm kind of interested in the Langford Grocery and Market in Houston.
Yeah, you can check it online. I'm thinking of doing that just to see the menu.
Here's Murphy now. Johnny Murphy taking that pitch low and inside. Murphy, a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of major league at bats. But with the Marlins, he's got 3 walk-off hits. We ought to go back and search and see if maybe in his brief stints in the big leagues and other places, if he had any walk-off hits. That's not a stat that you find in a lot of websites statistically. He was with the Royals and the A's. Murphy has, in his big league career, just 432 plate appearances.
Never a full season with Kansas City or with Oakland.
He has in his career just 79 base hits. 3 of those have been walk-off hits. Does BaseballReference.com have walk-off hits in their splits? Who's got walk-off hits? Crack staff, help us out. Stats Inc. is our go-to site. We're working on it right now. Lexus League Leaders presented by JM Lexus. You're winning RBIs. Not walk-offs, but this game winners. Miggy, Niner, and Mike Lowell. JM Lexus, price made us number 1. Emilio Bonifacio is at the plate. Mike Stanton is on deck. $13,825. The attendance.
No, that restaurant in Atlanta, the Langford Grocery. Is that the one in Houston? Houston has a burger that I know would interest. It might interest both of us. It's called the Grim Burger.
Grim?
The Grim Burger. It features mac and cheese, bacon, fries, a fried egg, and jalapeno. That would be a grim broadcast if we had that.
Is this the site right here? LangfordGrocery.com?
Yeah.
Pretty good pitch. When Bonifacio goes down, Godin finishes him off. That's the 7th, folks. On to the 8th. 6-4 pitch. to tie it at 4, and then a 2-run inning for the Fish. That in the 6th has given the bullpen a chance to shut the door. The 8th inning belongs to Clay Hensley, and he's really owned that inning since last year on into this season. This is already his 4th appearance.
Yeah, you can see the game plan of this one with Brian Sanchez working a nice 6th inning. Edward Mujica a 1-2-3-7. Clay Hensley here in the 8th, and if all goes well, we'll see Leo Nunez.
Here's Michael Morse with Ankiel and Espinoza to follow. Chopper, Murphy racing in. He's a little guy, but he has a strong arm.
Yeah, he does. He's actually a pure shortstop. That's his, I would say, his most comfortable position. The position he's played the most. But yeah, he shows up that strong arm there.
Now Ankiel. An 0 for 2 night. Volstad, as we told you, lasted 5 innings. Sanchez and Mujica for an inning. It's back to the top of the rotation for the Marlins tomorrow night. Josh Johnson against lefty John Lannon. Coffey and Broderick in the pen.
Yeah, Josh Johnson will take his record of 7-0 lifetime against the Nationals into the game tomorrow night.
Soft pop-up left. Look out, Hanley. And Lomo did not pick it up. The learning curve still continuing out there left with Lomo and with Hanley at short.
Just a little stutter step, a little hesitation. Lomo actually got there and hit him on the wrist. But you could just see the hesitation as he started to go, started to hold up, and then started to go again. And again, you talked about that learning curve, and it's there.
So Hensley makes a good pitch, but doesn't get the out. Have they posted a hit or an error on that?
Neither.
Switch hitting second baseman Danny Espinoza's up.
It's one of those, can go either way. A catchable ball. It's going to go as a base hit.
There's a strike from Hensley.
Danny Espinoza really made a big splash when he first came on the scene. He got his first major league hit off Burke Badenhop. Then shortly after that, in a series against the Mets, he had a 4-hit night with a couple of home runs.
Any prospect not named Strasburg or Harper is going to fly under the radar, be it a Drew Storen or a Danny Espinoza.
Yeah, and one of those home runs was a grand slam, too. Yeah, because if you followed the Nationals, all you've heard, Strasburg, Storen, Bryce Harper now.
Well, even Storen was overshadowed.
That's another pretty good pitch, but that's a pitch all night that Cheetah hasn't called for a strike. Right there, number 4. Bryce Harper, the 18-year-old, who actually appeared in a number of games in spring training, hit over 300. Certainly wasn't intimidated, but they want him to play. He's going to start in A-ball. I'm sure if all goes well, he'll move up after a month or so.
Strasburg, if all goes well, could be pitching in September.
Really curious to see the decision they make.
There's a ground ball at second. Infante one. Hanley's turn. Got him. Got them both. Nicely done. 4-6-3. The 8th inning belongs to Clay Hensley. And the Marlins lead at 6-4.
By a score of 6-4. Coming up on Marlins Live postgame immediately after this one, Jeff Conine will join me. We'll tell you all about this game. Plus, we'll break down John Buck's big at-bat that resulted in the 3-run triple, very reminiscent of his at-bat opening night. We'll have the final results of the Lunch with Lomo poll, where he should eat lunch on the first road trip of the season, and we'll hear from tomorrow's starter Josh Johnson as he gets ready for start number 2 on the season. All that coming up and more on Marlins Live postgame. Rich and Tommy?
We will be there, Frank. The Marlins and the Nationals. That is Todd Coffey.
Sounds like a lot of good stuff coming up.
Todd Coffey is a big man.
Well, double switch by Jim Riggleman because Espinosa made the final out of the inning. Alex Cora comes in. He'll bat ninth and play second base. And Coffey is put in that spot in the order where Espinosa was.
Todd Coffey looks like he could be a running mate of Bob Wickman's. Remember Wicky in Atlanta?
Always one of our favorites.
Wes Helms is up. Scott Cousins, Greg Dobbs, and now Helms have all appeared in this spot. Dobbs delivered another pinch hit. Helms pulls that one foul, and the count's 1-1.
Coffey will throw some fastballs and sliders. He can get up there in the 90s, sometimes mid-90s. Split finger once in a while.
Helms goes after a sharp breaking ball. It's 1-2. Todd Coffey is listed at 6'4", 240. What do you think, Tommy? 6'4", 240?
Nah. Not going to tell him that, though. Wow, the Red Sox about to go down again. trailing 7-2 in Cleveland. Worst start since their 0-6 start in '96. Red Sox Nation not real happy now.
You can't believe anything you read, because I just wanted to compare Coffey to Wickman. Since I threw Wickman's name out, I thought, well, how much does Wickman weigh? Wickman is listed at 6'1", 207.
That's when he signed. Well, speaking of Boston, how about El Guapo?
Rich Garces, right?
Garces.
Who's the?
There's some big guys. How about
CC Sabathia is enormous.
CC Sabathia. How about Jonathan Broxton? Yeah, he's the one who came to mind.
I mean, they've got a. It's like in the airlines, you got to get that double wide seat belt in terms of belts for these guys. Worth over to get it, makes the catch, and there's an out here in the bottom of the 8th. Home Depot doing more on defense. This is the Hanley play. Nice pick. Little look for Bud Selig's name. There it is. Throw the ball. Nicely done. Doing more on defense. Home Depot. What was it? Chad Peranto was the other big guy?
Chad Peranto, yes.
In that Atlanta bullpen. Coughlin has 3 hits, a couple doubles and a single. Chris 3 for 4. Was talking to him before the ball game about last year, and he said last year was a great lesson for him because didn't get off to a great start. He said he tried to make up ground too fast. He tried to get his hits back all in 1 month.
Yeah, it's easy to say not to do
that. He hammers that ball in the gap, right center field. That might be 3. Worth will pick it up. Coughlin will stop. It is 3. It's 3 doubles on the night. But he said the lesson he learned last year, Tommy, was it's a long season, and if you get off to a slow start, you catch up at the end. You don't have to catch up right away.
And you know, when you think about it, once he figured that out, look at this swing. And again, to give you an idea where he's hit the ball tonight. Right center, up the middle, down the right field line, down the left field line, a single and 3 doubles. And remember, he didn't hit his first double last year until May 10th. And he has 4 now.
There's Infante. He knocked in a run in the 6th. Some insurance would be nice headed to the 9th.
Before Chris got hurt last year, he was starting to, you could see him starting to put it together. And he actually brought his average up to 268. He was buried in the low 200s for a while.
Coffey bounces one up. Nunez getting ready for the 9th. Another terrific night for the bullpen. 3 scoreless innings so far. Ryan Sanchez, Edward Mujica, and Clay Hensley have tag teamed, and they've given up just 1 hit between them. And that hit was the pop-up that banged off the wrist of Logan Morrison.
Talked earlier about Ryan Howard, off to a hot start for the Phillies. Hit a home run you mentioned earlier tonight. He's 4 for 4. He's hitting .524 on the season.
That's a ball, apparently, and Infante takes his base. If he walked, there should be 4 pitches up there, right?
Again, though, that pitch hasn't been a strike all night.
No, it hasn't.
So in his defense, if I was Tim Cheetah's defense attorney, I'd say he's been consistent anyway all evening.
Hanley takes low. Hanley tonight is driven into. Wow, that had some run on it, so it may have ended up inside. Pudge tried to frame it. Coughlin and Infante. Hanley going after a 2-0 slider. With the 2-1 coming. It would be Jeff Nelson saying he swung.
That one's close.
Had those 2 strikes with breaking balls, so he busts a fastball up. Count full 3-2. Gabby waits. Marlins have drawn 7 walks on the ball game. Hanley draws one. His second of the night.
Yeah, I'm looking at an interesting part of the lineup. Gabby Sanchez and Logan Morrison without hits tonight, but Gabby's walked twice, hit the ball well too, lined out in the 3rd inning, and Lomo's walked 3 times.
AJ, or the matchup tomorrow at 6:30 with Marlins Live. Steve McCatty is out. John Lannon, Josh Johnson. Marlins trying to add to this 6-4 lead here in the 8th inning. Get Leo Nunez in the game and put themselves in a position to take all 3 for the Nationals. Got Gabby Sanchez up. Bags loaded and 1 out. Todd Coffey getting a chat from a durable right-hander in his day, Steve McCatty.
Entire career spent with the Oakland Athletics.
Part of
you probably watched him as a kid.
I did, and he finished a lot of the games. In fact, that staff had 90-some complete games.
At 81, he had 16.
Matt Keogh, Mike Norris, Brian Kingman, Steve McCatty. Breaking ball, strike, outside corner.
Was Rick Langford?
Rick Langford was
part of that?
Yes, he was the 5th starter on Billy Martin's staff. Billy did not believe in going to the bullpen much.
He was not Captain Hook like Sparky.
Pudge trying to deke the runner at 3rd as he had picked the short hop. Ball and a strike. Got in on him. Gabby sends it to center. Coughlin tags. Ankiel makes the catch. And this is going to plate a run. Gabby drives it in. Coughlin will score. Nicely done. 7-4. Third RBI of the season for Gabby.
Well, some good at-bats tonight. And again, he was on base a couple of times with walks. Good at-bat there to get the fly ball deep enough for the sac fly. Much better offensive performance tonight than last night.
Jim Riggleman's on his way out to the mound. By the way, 94 complete games for that Oakland team back in 1980. Todd Coffey right now yelling at the home plate umpire. And Tim Cheetah has said, not only have you been removed, but I'm throwing you out as well. Before he came in and got his money's worth with Tim Cheetah. Here was the exchange between the two. And you know what? He's right.
He's absolutely right. Tim Cheetah, veteran umpire. He's a crew chief for this crew.
Now, one of the quotes after that, and it was about 10 seconds later, but because of time and some colorful language, we couldn't play it all for you. But once he got Riggleman by himself, he told Riggleman, he said, look, I've called it the same way for your team as I have for that team.
And he has. And we've talked about that ever since the first inning. He had both Chris Volstad and Levon Hernandez questioning, but all night that pitch has been a ball.
Amen. He's been consistent from the first pitch. So Doug Slayton, come on down.
Tim Cheetah, 50 years old, first came up to the big leagues in 1986. Been around a long time.
Logan Morrison takes a breaking ball for a strike. Tommy talked about it. Morrison now with 3 walks in this ball game. 8 walks on the season already. And that's something to watch. I mean, Morrison could be one of those guys that is among the league leaders in bases on balls. As patient as he's been, he's always had such a high on-base percentage coming up in the minor leagues.
And the same can be said with Gabby Sanchez. Same MO coming up in the Marlins minor league system.
Morrison swings and misses. A nasty pitch from Slayton. The inning is over. The Marlins add on. 3-run cushion for Leo Nunez in the ninth. Marlins Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Marooney, South Florida. When you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-Marooney. Now, look
I'm
at
not
that.
taking that stuff off. I want to sleep with this on. I'm a catcher.
That's awesome. Look at that.
Oh, that looks great.
Shin guards, chest protector, mask, helmet, glove.
You're not going to get that off of him tonight.
Hunt, I'll bet you he's got a cup on, too. Can never be too careful. Here's Leo Nunez. And Pudge fouls it off. So Nunez comes on with Pudge, the 9 spot, the pitcher's position. That has Alex Cora awaiting. An 0 for 3 night. Pudge is still looking for his first hit of the year. He's still 183 away from 3,000. Toyota trend. Marlins bullpen this year. There are the numbers. 19 1/3, a 1.86 ERA. And as I mentioned, that meltdown against the Mets on Saturday kind of clouds the fact that in the other games, the bullpen's been pretty good. That's a nasty pitch. That's the changeup. Not many changeups in the game have that much movement on it.
And you see a lot of right-handers will like to use their changeups, the left-handed hitters, but Leo has such a good one. Look at how it starts out. It comes back over the inside part and completely freezes Pudge Rodriguez. So Leo trying to pick up his first save of the year.
Now Cora, who got the start last night. Marlins trying to push their record over 500, get to 3-2.
And continue their dominance over the Nationals. Counting last night's game over the last 3+ years now, 40-14, trying to make it 41-14 against Washington.
2-1 to Cora. 2 hopper out to Infante. And Nunez has a couple outs. Well, this was a ball game, Tommy, where finally the Marlins got production from all over their lineup. The heavy lifting had been done in the middle with Gabby, Morrison, and Buck. But tonight, Coughlin explodes for 4 hits. Infante drives in a run. Hanley drives in 2. Gabby and Lomo didn't have a hit, but as you mentioned, they were productive in that Morrison walked 3 times. Gabby walked twice and had a sacrifice fly. And of course, Buck had the big hit of the night for the Fish, the 3-run triple that tied the game at 4. Ball and a strike.
And I know it's early, but the best run total for the Marlins this year, 7 runs tonight.
And they have their ace on the mound tomorrow night, and Josh Johnson. John Lannon, though, is pretty darn good.
Yeah, left-hander. Marlins have seen Lannon before.
Two and 2 to Desmond, the Sarasota product, and a lively bunch of 13,825 on a 2 for Tuesday. Breaking ball, a liner into left, and Morrison's over. You're right. I'm off today. That's my bad. Reading the promos, I had the wrong promo queued up. This is 790 the tickets crowd. This is the 790 box seat night.
And that was a 4-hit night
for Ian Desmond.
2 doubles, 2 singles. It's had quite a night. So the 2 leadoff men tonight, each kind of coming into this game with little struggles. They have broken out of it. Chris Coughlin and Ian Desmond.
Now Worth, who was 0 for 3 tonight, who's 1 for 8 in this series. Nunez misses down low. Buck doesn't like what he sees, and he's going to go talk to the right-hander.
Yeah, he's going to tell him. And we've seen John Buck do this a few times already this year with Leo Nunez. And I think it's something that he needs. John Buck knows him a little bit.
Brewers and Braves 5-4 Milwaukee in the 8th. Jason Hayward has hit his 2nd. Reds continue to crush the Astros 12-4. Right down the middle. This would be Brian Sanchez's game to win. Nunez trying to complete 4 more scoreless innings from the pen.
Last night, 4 1/3 from the pen, 1 hit, no runs. If Leo Nunez can get Jason Worth here, it'll be 4 innings from the pen, no runs, a couple of hits.
2-2.
Hasn't been a strike all night.
I was just about to say, where have you been all night?
Yeah, this one was low.
Yeah,
this
it
one
was
low. You can tell.
Not that far
Not
off.
by much, though.
Where have you been all night?
Yeah,
3-2. No, he missed, and that's not a good thing, because now I'm sure when John Buck went out there, he told Leo, look, Leo, you got a 3-run lead and Ryan Zimmerman's on deck. Just throw it down the middle and let's see if Worth can do something with it.
Because guess what now? now you have a feared hitter, Ryan Zimmerman, a guy who has hit the Marlins extremely well over his career, big hits, and he comes up representing the tying run now. He's already had 2 seasons of 100 RBIs or more.
Marlins walked him 3 times last night. He homered last night. Nunez misses outside with a fastball. One and 0. Adam LaRoche is on deck. Worth and Desmond. No swing.
Had one last inning with Hanley. It's close, but called a swing. Looked like Zimmerman checked it.
Fastball got by him, but Zimmerman had quite a cut. Remember the slider that Nunez had been working on in spring training. Right now it's just been fastballs and changeups.
Good fastball there. 95.
I don't think we'll see a slider in this spot. But the fact that he hasn't thrown it means that Zimmerman's looking at a fastball or a changeup.
We saw it.
There it was.
That was the slider.
That was the slider, or that was the pitch. Remember that Aaron Rowan put in the seats.
Just enough away that he got the foul ball. And I think a lot of that, seeing the slider and the way he's pitching, is John Buck calling it.
Now the 2-2 again. Fastball. Showed him the slider, threw the fastball by him. And the Marlins win it. They come from behind. The Nationals jumped them early. The Marlins came back to tie it, take the lead, and the bullpen again sparkling tonight. 4 scoreless innings. Nunez finishes. Brian Sanchez will get the win. Edward Mujica and Clay Hensley also with a scoreless inning. 7-4 the final, and the Marlins are over 500 now at 3-2. We'll wrap it up after this.